3 Points of Articulation podcast. Hello and welcome to the 3 Points of Articulation podcast. I'm joined, as per usual, by Johnny Flashback.
Yes, recording is in progress.
Lovely. And Adam, the Wrestling Man.
Hey, yo.
And as per normal, I'm the big tasty Jamie Wills. And we're looking at the current argument between setting the industry back 30 years, the back and forth that's been going on in the current news headlines. So before any further ado, let's jump straight into some news.
News.
And it's news talk. So we're looking at some lovely news, the news world order since the last episode of the podcast. So, boys, we'll have a look at AEW to start with, shall we? We've had some paints revealed from AEW Wave 5? 6, 5. They're thrown out so quickly at the moment. I get discombobulated with them. So let's start off with the non-chasers to start with. So Jake Hager arrives in his black jumper t-shirt and his black MMA style shorts. What are your guys' views on Jake?
Marcel?
Go on, Dara.
Yeah. Jamie doing that thing again where he doesn't say a name. We've told him about it, but he doesn't learn.
Adam, let's go to you.
Yeah, I mean, the head is brilliant. If they get that head right, it beats any of the WWE Mattel figures because they never, ever got Swagger's head right. So if the head looks exactly like it does on the pictures, then jobs are good. And paintwork, unfortunately, is another weird one. Releasing images with completely different coloured skin tones of paints randomly on the figure, white knees with almost brown legs. They need to get their head in the game when it comes to taking their photographs. It's not good enough.
Was that on the chase one? But actually, it might be underneath the knee pads on this one. Is that right?
Yeah. Both. Yeah, I think they're both. I assume they both would have knee pads hiding this, but it's very strange why they haven't put the knee pads on them to hide it.
Maybe the chase is like a sort of MMA version of Hager, so it's a way to bring them out in line with the UFC fighters. Maybe. I know we're skipping on to that one a bit quickly, but we might as well talk about it at the same time. Yeah, you need to fix the knees, but otherwise it looks decent as long as the scaling is all right.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's the knees. The first thing that you see in the image is the knees, which is. It's a shame, but I agree. It would be quite good to get them in scale with the UFC figures that they released earlier this year. So it'd be quite interesting to see where they go from that point on Jake. But I completely agree with the head side of things. The head look too smiley, or the hair looks too blonde on the Mattel ones, whereas on these Jazzware ones, they look completely different league. Speaking of a different league, MJF. Shall we look at MJF's figure for this one? Just this Dynamite Diamond ring, which you couldn't get before unless you got the chase from the earlier series 2, in his black and gold pants with an AEW microphone. Johnny, let's go to you on first on this one. What's your view on the MJF?
This one's very disappointing because it's seemingly come with less accessories each and every series. And this one sort of epitomizes it in the fact that it doesn't even have the scarf with the MJF figure. So you got your microphone and your ring, I guess, but the ring is so tiny you can't see it. Is it even detachable or?
I can only assume it's going to. No, because it's a closed fist. It can't be detachable.
So it's part of the hand, really. So yeah, it's very disappointing that it doesn't come with that a scarf at least. I know we were suggesting it could come with a robe because he's been wearing a robe at pay-per-views and things. So yeah, very disappointing, and that goes across the board really. Since series 3, I think the accessories has just been dwindling. There's getting less and less for each series, it seems.
I guess now they're trying to iron out the problems with the earlier series with the skin tone and stuff. It's probably costing them more, so they're probably having to rethink their plans.
Could be. A bit disappointing though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a step back on the MJF side of things. But as I said before, the same with the Chase. The Chase come with a hand that had the diamond ring on the hand, so it'll be probably the same hand, I would have thought.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it certainly makes sense. It's good.
Was missing very easy if it's so small.
Yeah, it's good for good for displaying. I imagine. So let's go to a Hikaru Shida, or Hiraku if you work for AEW and do the nameplates for those. Comes the women's titles, longest reigning AEW women's champion. So it's about time we had a figure of hers. Adam, let's go to you on this one first. What's your view on Shida?
Yeah, it looks good. They definitely haven't made the weird head mistake that they did with Rio. It actually looks like Shida as long as it comes out like that. What she's wearing is exactly what she wears. It's quite detailed, so there's enough on there for me. Women's title, it'll be interesting to see if that's any better than the women's title we got with Rio. I doubt it, but it'll be interesting to see when we get close up. Does it come with a stick? Is that right? No. So yeah, again, good harping back to Jono's comment about accessories. But on the whole of it, on the face of it, the fact that it's a new one is always a plus with AEW these days. It looks pretty nifty.
Yeah, I think you've nailed the critique I was going to give it. The lack of accessory maybe can be forgiven, but at the same time, it could have been there to push it on to the next level. But it does look a good figure.
It's good. I think that's going to be one that's going to be quite sought after, I would have thought, out of the whole set. You'd hope so, because Shida's quite popular for women's wrestling nowadays, and she's not a bad wrestler. But yeah, it's good to see. Right, Le Champion, Chris Jericho, with his neckerchief, I guess you'd call it on there, and the AEW World title that he comes with also. So, John, let's go to you on this one first. Upgrade or downgrade from previous Jerichos?
I think this is the only one in the series I don't remember looking at or remember how it looks, to be honest. So it mustn't have been much an upgrade, to be honest. I do remember the chase though, because the chase looked pretty nifty with his jacket and things on. So I'll comment on the chase because that probably is one of the better ones of the series. Certainly one of the better chases and one that's going to be worth trying to get. And now that the one of 3,000 or 5,000, it's much more attainable, hopefully, in this country.
Yeah, I think the Jono really hit it on the head there. I don't remember the normal one either, because straight away your eyes are drawn to that chase because the photograph was really good of it. Great pose. It looked excellent. So yeah, Jamie, tell us about the normal one, please.
Well, I just did. He comes with his neckerchief. Basically, he's wearing black tights with a bit of yellow piping down the side. Lovely. With his black boots as well. So facial expression wise is this. So if you can imagine that.
Right, yeah. So I kind of remember now in that, I'm just going back to the same argument. If you compare it to Series 1 came with the figure, the jacket, the hat, the scarf, the spare hands. There was loads more accessories with that one.
Yeah, definitely. But would you rather have more accessories like that or more detail on the figure, given the choice?
It's a tough one.
I know, sorry, I put it on the spot there, but I mean, it's interesting that you guys are talking about it, but I don't know whether it's worth getting more accessories or just having that extra.
It depends on who it is, because like we just talked about Shida, and she's really detailed. So, like Jono said, he's happy for the stick not to be in it and maybe to come in a future series. But other people that are quite bland, like MJF, it's not good enough. You want something with them, so it completely depends on the character.
That's pretty much it. That's right. And if we move on to the next guys, you've got Penta and Phoenix who don't come with accessories. And to be honest, I can quite forgive that one as well, because both of these look even better than the first two, which were already really good as well. So yeah, these two again are probably the figures of the series.
Yeah, I agree on those. I think watching a lot of Ray Phoenix recently, I'm become quite a big fan of his, and I think the figures wise they match, which I quite like. I hate it when you get tag teams in a set. It's quite rare nowadays, but that don't match each other's outfits. It was quite prominent in the Jax era. So it's good to see that Padawa's learned his lesson from that then. But yeah, I think Penta looks fantastic.
Yeah, they are great, and they are going to be toyetic figures, obviously. Is it enough to make me buy the new versions because I've got the old versions? No.
Yep. I would say it's an upgrade from the first version. So, well, I'll probably be getting them anywhere. So, completist.
But it's completely, essentially cutting off the secondary market for these, which is a good thing. So obviously, if you're just getting into AEW now, which some people will be, and they want to get a Penta or a Ray Phoenix, they're going to have to pay more than retail value for on the secondary market, or they can go and buy these ones for retail. So yeah, it just makes sense to have these in the line.
Yeah, good thing for you, Jamie, the buyer, but not so much for the seller who's got a couple laying about.
Not for me, that one. Right, so AEW also released the barbed wire pack, which come out of complete nowhere. Have you guys seen the images?
Yes.
Yes, I have. I'll give you a quick critique of it. It's just there's not much there for the money you're paying for it. It's $20, which you'd probably just equate to maybe 20 quid once you've converted and add your postage and your taxes and all that sort of thing. So if you compare it to something like the 10-piece hardcore set from Ringside, it just doesn't compare. There's not much there, to be honest. They're overpriced.
I would completely agree with that. But stuff like baseball bats with barbed wire, they go for like about a tenner individually sometimes on eBay. So I think there's enough in there to draw people into buying them because there's still a selection to buy for a cheaper price than buying all the Mattel ones one by one off eBay. But if you compare it to the hardcore set, like John said, it's a different story.
I'll tell you, the box for it actually looks really good. Like as a presentation piece, it matches the whole series, which I quite like. Let's go for the black and gold thing again. So if you are going to buy it for display purposes, because people probably will, it looks quite good as a set in there, which is always good to see.
It would blow my mind if people bought that for a display purpose. I wouldn't get that at all.
No, John, are you gonna?
Well, Adam, let me blow your mind. I will be getting this and using it as MOC display piece, as well as having a look at the loose version.
Explain the benefit or what you would get out of that. I don't get it.
I'm just seeing to collect them all, completist. That's just how I'm going at the moment. I'm not going to say I'm going to continue to be a completist, but at this very moment, I am a completist. So I'll be getting that in his box.
Okay, I get that, but I wouldn't display it. I don't see any point in displaying it out like that.
I'll find somewhere for it.
I guess a follow-up question would be if the box wasn't black and gold, would you still pick it up as a display piece for your set?
Probably because I've been picking up the Ringside Collectibles versions of the exclusive figures in the Cody and the Jurassic Express, so it's in the same sort of.
I guess so. Yeah, so I quite like it because it's uniform, but yeah, I don't know what you mean. You got the Jungle Express ones coming out soon, and that's green, isn't it? Jurassic Express.
2 weeks in a row. Is it me next week?
It's you next week. If we do it again next week, I'll sing the full Jungle Boy theme tune live on the podcast. Right, so is that it for AEW?
Yes.
Lovely stuff. Should we move on to Zombie Sailor? One zombie that's welcomed this week, should we say. So I've had the Todd Pettingill, should we cover first? It's a good reveal for me. They built it up quite a lot. I thought it was going to be someone absolutely massive. But yeah, what's your views on Todd? Go you first, Jono.
Yeah, the reveal didn't match the build-up, but it's quite a unique cat to get in your collection, and he fits right in there with that Hasbro era. So it's really a good pick, and you'll be getting someone to interview your little retro figures now.
So for me, it's an excellent pick. He sums up my childhood basically. watching Saturday morning wrestling on Sky. He was an absolutely fantastic character. I'd say underrated, but I don't think he is underrated. If I'd have said that 10 years ago, I would have been right. But I think today's wrestling fans are kind of like me, where they really rate him at the time, and just a brilliant addition to the kind of Hasbro-esque lineup.
It's interesting to know if they signed him up before the Mean Gene figure was released, because it's going to have the same. Well, someone to interview your Hasbro's as well. On that side of things, or do they bring it in line with that? So it'd be interesting to find. Interesting for me, probably not for anyone else, because that sort of thing. Johnny, let's fire across to you to the next bit of news.
Yeah, we also seen the reveal of Paul Roma, and it is coming in a Power and Glory look, but instead of saying Power and Glory on the top, it just says Roma, but in the same font. So this was something I was thinking along the lines of when we had our AEW Legends conversation, is that if you want to avoid some sort of copyright, you can put different wording, but in the same style. And it seems to what Zombie Sailor is going to do with Paul Roma, to have that glory look likeness for Paul Roma.
Is it anything that's removable, or is it just on the figure?
The shirt is removable, I believe, and possibly glasses. I don't have it in front of me. I can't quite remember.
I'm just trying to think of how he'd fit into different kind of eras, like WCW with Pretty Wonderful, whether you'd be able to transfer it over or not.
I imagine you take the top and the glasses off and you should be fine, yeah.
I'll have a look. I think with Paul Roma, I think it's certainly, once again, a good choice, because we've had a lot of people from that era, and I imagine you're going to pick that up, the pair of you, on your sort of era, so... If the price based on price point on there. Lovely. Any other news?
Yeah, we have seen the figure of Sabu. It looks like a prototype. So did you guys see that one?
Yes.
It looks really good.
So I know some people sort of complain that it's not basic enough to be the Hasbro-esque type figure, saying that it should be less detailed. I'm thinking, okay. But I do really like how they've done it, and at least if it's going to be costing a lot more, you can shows there are a lot of details in it to warrant the price. Although I did notice, I don't know if we discussed or even if you guys have heard, that there's no actions with these figures. There's no like actual spring action like the Hasbro's have. So that would be a reason why there's a lot more detail to it as well.
Didn't know that.
It's unnecessary for me. If you're going to buy this figure, you're not buying it to play with. So you don't need the spring action. You need the pose of the hand. And for me, the people that are turning around and saying it's not cartoony enough are maybe setting the industry back 30 years.
Good analogy.
You've got them there, haven't you? Yeah, I agree. You have to have the Sabu pose, I think, on there, because you're not going to play with them. If you're spending, well, if you're American, it'd be $30. You're not spending that on a figure to have a little mashup with, are you? So yeah, that makes complete sense to have it this way, and I quite liked it. I like the look of it. The scars look really good on there, so good to see. Lovely. We've also had some Funko reveals. I know we'll very briefly touch on this, because I know you guys are not massive Funko fans, are you? So we'll just get up the list that we've got of the Funko reveals. So we've got Jody King Lawler, Asuka, Roman Reigns, which is an Amazon exclusive, Rey Mysterio in its blue gear, and the Street Profits to start us off with. I really like the look of these Funkos compared to other ones they've released. I know you guys aren't massive fans, but do you have anything to add to the Funko side of things?
I just thought one of the Street Profits looked like it was wearing a Santa Claus hat, but other than that, I didn't really pay much attention to it.
Dawkins, funny chances.
Yeah, that thought crossed my mind as well. But it made me want to display the pictures on our 3 Points of Articulation Facebook page, because these are really toyetic. They're really nice looking figures. Everything's got more about it than just a wrestler in his tights. So good choices.
Good choices indeed. We've also got a very strange choice on there with Xavier Woods, which is a Target exclusive. I'm not sure why they've gone for Xavier Woods, bearing in mind that we've got Big E, who's on quite a big singles run, and Kofi is a former world champion. But yeah, very strange why out of the three of them they've gone for for Xavier.
Maybe they've got more exclusives lined up of the other two.
Fingers crossed. Or it was cheaper. Or, another option. We've also got The Rock as well. Let's Bring It t-shirt from his 2013 run. So that's it on the Funkos side of things. Was there any other news from you guys to tie us in?
Just keeping on like figure reveals, the Championship Showdown ones, touch very briefly on it. Austin Mankind, China Trish, and Bulldog Bossman were the pictures were released. Do you guys see that, and what did you think?
I think they look good for basics. As I said before, it's good to get that Bossman in the jeans. I may get these, but probably wouldn't pay full price. I maybe wait to see if they pop up on eBay or something like that, just in a daft bundle or whatever.
The Bulldog in the jeans. Yeah, I like the Bulldog in the jeans. I think the chin was quite big. It looked more like Quagmire from Family Guy. But I think it's about time we had a Bulldog in that attire in that era. So good to see.
Yeah, I was slightly disappointed by Bulldog, but I can't figure out why, because it did everything it said on the tin, and it is from the right era, but I don't know. There was something about it. I'll say more when I see it up close. I was really impressed by the China figure, actually, if you two have seen it. It was perfect shape, model, kind of similar to her Elites, but compared to Trish Stratus, it worked really well in the box.
I think as long as it's the same height, I don't mind the basic women figures at all, really. So if it's good.
We said before, haven't we, that there's not a massive bit of difference between the female basic and female elite figures. It's changed a little bit recently, but yeah, you can't really tell that much unless you properly look into it. We are rumoured to get a Trish elite from the Attitude Era, so if you are looking at picking that up just for Attitude Era Trish, I'd hold off.
I'd still have more than one Attitude Era Trish, I think. I think this one would be like 2001 Trish, wouldn't it? So
yeah. Even when she won the title, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Lovely stuff. Yeah, and as for Stone Cold and Mankind, we've also seen the images of the Mankind and the Rock 2-pack as well, which, whilst we're on the subject of Mankind, I think it looks great. I mean, obviously you guys have seen that, but so Adam, what's your view on the Rock and Mankind 2-pack?
Yeah, look good. The jackets are always kind of in demand from the Defining Moments figure. But the trousers on Mankind just ruined it for me, because that's the only thing that seemingly pops when you first look at it. So your eyes are drawn straight to those really, really bright blue trousers. Weird.
Not much to add to that. No, I didn't like the segment. Not fussed in the figures, if I'm honest.
Yeah, it's very weird. They have mashed that up a little bit, because obviously the Rock's in his wrestling gear, which he was in his famous sort of $5,000 shirt and so on the event. So it's quite weird that they've mashed that up a little bit. And Mankind with his lost property trousers, should we say, that he's wearing on there. So, but yeah, I think the pack's going to sell well. We all know it is.
Yeah.
Lovely. Anything else to add there, boys?
Just very quickly for New Japan fans, the Series 2 of the NJPW figures has been delayed until August. They took quite a lot of flack on the Series 1 figures for just things that weren't quite right, so maybe they're just getting that done.
I've got a little quick as well. It's quite a little fun segment. It's not about figures, but it's about trading cards, and that Target in the USA have banned selling them for the safety of employees.
Pokemon cards, is that?
Trading cards like I think it's baseball cards and Pokemon cards and things like that. Maybe not so much WWE, but it's causing havoc in the States. So apparently they have to stop the sale of them for the safety of the staff and customers.
What a world we live in.
Mental.
I know that McDonald's once again, another side note on the wrestling figures, but the McDonald's in America had the Pokemon Happy Meals, and you get the cards in with that. I know that they apparently sold out of those within a day, like a month's worth. They just sold out of the cards.
Wow.
Which, absolutely ludicrous, some say, but I do want a double cheeseburger now. Lovely. So is that everything for news, boys? Anything else we want to cover? Anything else going on in the world that's crazy?
No, it's been a quiet couple of weeks.
Well, plenty of things crazy in the world, but that's enough for the figure world at least.
Yes, quite a couple of weeks indeed, unless you're an employer target. Brilliant. So let's be back in a second with our lovely pick-me-ups since the last episode. Not weekly. I didn't say weekly this time. We'll be back in a sec.
Ooh, some lovely pick-me-ups.
Lovely. So we've got now the weekly pick-me-ups time. Not weekly, 2 weekly. Done it already. Adam, let's fire across to you.
Yeah, I will fire straight to the tag team display behind me. Picked up one of my favourites. It's going to remain one of my favourites in the display from a guy called Jacob Harvey on the Facebook groups, who I think was getting rid of his whole collection. And we talked about figures not having accessories and things earlier. You couldn't really get much more with these ones. So they are the Bludgeon Brothers, Eric Rowan and Luke Harper. Both come with the mallets. Both come with the long coats. Rowan comes with a hood and the new improved sheet mask that didn't last very long. I think they need those because the bodies aren't necessarily perfect in these, but obviously with all these on, they will look absolutely brilliant in the display. About 35 quid as well, so I think I got a bargain.
Yeah, I've seen you pick them up, really toyetic versions of those two. You imagine the Luke Harper is going for a lot more than that now as well, so it's a good price.
Interesting fact, these are the figures that I looked at that sort of maybe look at wrestling figures again with these two. Because I remember I was, when they first came out, the Bludgeon Brothers, was it 2018-ish? Would have been. I remember when the figures come out, I was like, they're amazing. I think compared to the real thing, they look incredible. So I think that was the one thing I realised that Mattel started releasing really good figures. So yeah, they're really sort of toyetic figures they are. Good pickup.
Mm-hmm.
Let's stick with Jacob Harvey then, because I picked up some things from him as well. So I got a Big Daddy Cool Diesel Elite from the network Spotlight. It wasn't its box, but my 2-year-old got to it before me. So there's Big Daddy Cool, and he also threw in a HBK as well, which I'm guessing is around a 98 HBK. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but a 97, 98.
Yeah, pretty much.
So I got these two for my Attitude Era display. So Diesel for my 96 and HBK for 98. Very good price. He was 35 and he was 7, I believe. So Diesel was 35, HBK was 7.
Speaking of your kid getting there before you to open it, you got there before me before I picked up the Diesel. So I seen the post and seen that you claimed it. So I probably would have had it if you didn't.
It's a really good figure. I think details wise, obviously this would be more for the YouTube video watchers, but the tassels down the side are really good. They feel like actual tassels, which is good, and so the studs on the back are fantastic as well. So yeah, all in all, very glad to pick this up at a very good price because they're quite hard to come by at a decent price.
Yeah, it's a lovely figure. I think the Hall of Fame one is slightly better, but obviously you're looking at a lot more money for that. All Jacob's figures were opened anyway, so I can forgive you for opening it.
Yeah, no reason I picked it up for that. Jono, let's fire across to you.
Yes, speaking of the Facebook group, people getting rid of collections, I've also picked up a few bundles actually down the way from Fraser Shaw. So a shout out to Fraser. He's offered me quite a few in the last month or two. And the first one, these are just ones for my own collection, is the Randy Orton, which is the new one from the Fan Takeover in the blue trunks. So it's a nice one to pick up. Second was Lita from Royal Rumble. So that's the one to match the rated R Edge. And finally, we've got the Undertaker from the Decade of Domination series. Got enough Undertakers, but it might have been one of those that I didn't pick up. But now that I've got it in a bundle, I'll keep hold of it. And there's his actual put on as well.
Take looks really good.
Yeah, Some are saying it doesn't because it's not quite accurate. I don't think it's supposed to have the grey around the top. But
I have to watch video to find that out. I don't know myself.
this is how God intended it. Bill McKenna.
Was it from his debut? His debut attire? Taker?
It's got to be because it has the black gloves rather than the grey ones.
Yeah, I didn't have a grey strip then. I think it was just a plain black hat. But either way, I think it makes sense. Continuity with a figure makes sense, not with real life.
It was part of the reason. Sorry, while I was going to pick up the diesel, I've already got 2 diesels, and this third one is only slightly different by the lettering on it. It's just picking up for the sake of, completist type behaviour.
I'll tell you what, if I ever go to sell it, Johnny, I'll give you first dibs on it. Give me a week.
Double price.
Yeah.
I really like that Lita. That Lita's from a really good set. That Royal Rumble set was brilliant.
It really was.
Yeah. Speaking of that, Frazier also had Bobby Lashley, but he didn't offer it to me first. He went in the groups and I missed it. I quite like that Bobby Lashley for 2006-ish look.
Well, he used the money that you gave him to buy my young Rocky Maivia Elite, so it's winner.
Was it Bobby Lashley, Macho Man, Lita, and The Rock? Was that the 4 that were in last year's Rumble? Yeah, really good set. I think it's really underrated. It's quite expensive when it came out. I remember seeing it on there.
Yeah, there mustn't have been that many produced, I don't think, so it was very rare to pick one up.
Macho Man's really good on that set as well. Adam, it's far across back to you.
Yeah, I got a little bit jealous, Jamie, when you did one of your reveals the other day, and my Attitude Era tag team display in there is my worst one. I've barely got anything in there. So I picked up one, and I will open it if I get the other. So managed to get it boxed, Gerald Briscoe. Managed to get it for 35 all in, which is absolutely brilliant for that one on eBay. So hopefully I can pick up a Patterson, and then I can get them in there. To make it actually look like there were tag teams in the Attitude Era.
I really like those figures. I put them next to my Vince on my display. But yeah, I think they're really good. As I was saying the other week, I think the t-shirts and the trousers make sense with it. And you whip them off, you've got yourself a lovely Gerald Briscoe ready for a fight.
Well, good pick up there, good price. Surprised that you don't have any Attitude Era tag teams though, because there is quite a few figures out there for them. So.
Yeah, I need to get the Brood Hardys. I need to probably do a custom Edge and Christian. I've already got a custom APA. I've got the Dudleys, and I've got the basic New Age Outlaws because I'm not a massive fan of the Elites, and the Hall of Champions ones are too expensive. And that's it.
So you say you want a custom Edge and Christian. Why is that?
I really like the 5-second pose type t-shirts, so I'll probably pick up an Edge and Christian and then stick those t-shirts on them to just make it a bit more tag teamy.
And the Dudley Boys, both of them were 2015 versions. So what have you done with those?
I mean, I've got the Elites. I'm not a big fan of them anyway, to be honest, but they're in there.
They don't fit the era though. Not those ones.
You've caught me out.
I've got those as well. Full confession in my Attitude Era display, but there's no other option, is there? No other option.
The other option is not have them.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm not taking that option.
What era were the basics? The grey ones. They'll have been that era, weren't they?
Yeah, the same 2015 era.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
You can tell by the hair on Bubba and the tattoos as well, and the way he wears like in the Attitude Era, he had a t-shirt, whereas in the 2015 it's put off at the shoulder.
You can tell I am not the biggest Dudley Boys fans.
I think Devon's eye as well. I don't know if they make it that accurate, but I think his eye got a bit lazier towards the end of his career.
I'm pretty sure Mattel haven't done that though.
No, but I'm saying that if they would make it more accurate. But it might just be another mistake like my Mark Henry figure. But
yeah,
never know. Right, back to me. Should we go to my giveaway, my prize-winning corner, should we say? So Let's start with wrestling pins. I've won another giveaway of wrestling pins, which I got a Ric Flair on there, which just says the jet flying, which is quite good. I've got 3 or 4 of these now. They look quite good. Fun little
Looks
display.
like he's in a Santa, like a women's Santa costume there.
Okay. Him and Angelo Dawkins can fight out between them, can't we? And I got an Angel Garza from Wrestling Megastore. Once again, Child got to it before me, but the Angel Garza Elite from Elite 84, I want to say. Really good figure. I was surprised at how detailed the face is. The ponytail, I don't think it's going to last very long on it because it feels already a bit wobbly. But you can pose with it, you can wrestle with it, and the trousers come off, which, what more could you want out of a figure? You ever feel caught short? Look at him, he's back to, look, he's in year 2, going to the toilet. There, his trousers half down his legs. But all in all, a good figure, Angel Garza. And
the old Mexican smirk.
The old Mexican smirk. That should be his new nickname, shouldn't it? And last but not least, we've got my present from Adam. Thank you very much. This was the from our predictions that we spoke about last week. So that's arrived a bit before my display. So I've kept them in the box, in my little prize winning box. And I've also popped in a little protector as well, which shows how much these prizes mean to me, Adam. He's in a protector.
We'll see if it's on eBay next week.
I've been in a box in the loft. I'm not allowed in the loft too much. So yeah, that's where he's going to be. Yeah, I think the Karma figure, let's talk about him quickly. I think the Karma figure is really good. You guys both got Karma?
I talked about it last week.
Yeah, but also another thing to add is the writing on the back, which is strange for a UK release, a Europe release. But Jono, let's fire back to you.
Yeah, I got the Karma as well. Throw me thunder. But yeah, I got one from Smith's and opened it, had a look at it. Bit disappointing with the face. Sorry?
Can I see the back? I've only seen it in the box.
Yep, there it is. Basic on the back, really. But yeah, the face, I remember seeing the face on like a reveal, and I thought it was the best Mattel scan I've ever seen. Now I've got it in hand. I don't think it's really that good. It looks more like Chuck Liddell, who's had a decent tan on him.
It does, to be fair.
And also they got the paint and skin around the belly, which is coming off already, which is always disappointing. And also from eBay, I picked up the Ultimate Warrior Legend figure and opened it. So I've got one loose now. So there we go. You can see the back of his
wonderful,
jacket.
that glorious, that jacket. There
he is with his daft mask on.
I've seen a lot more of those pop up on the secondary at the moment. But yeah, it's still a really good figure. I think it's going to keep up value or increase in value over the years, certainly. But it's really good to see.
Yeah, Warrior figures and like things like that, well, especially Ultimate Warrior, always seem to increase in value. Same with Bret Hart. Everyone that happened.
Defo, the BCA probably. But yeah. Anything else from there?
That's it from this lot. You can go back around the circle.
Go, Adam.
Back to me. My last pickups, a couple of T-shirts this week. First one is just because I love the Nexus. I've never actually seen this T-shirt. It must have been one that was when they were on tour, I'm assuming. Which is that one now. I don't think it's a T-shirt that I'm going to necessarily wear a lot, but I think it's more of a display one, probably to go with that one there. I just absolutely love the Nexus. I'm assuming this is from the era where Darren Young was kicked out because it's only got the 5 of them. Nothing on the back at all, but nice little T-shirt there.
Looks like the front cover of Scream, that doesn't it? The poster from the Scream film.
Who dies first?
Oh, in Scream, Drew Barrymore. In this one.
Oh, in Nexus.
Oh, well. Drew Barrymore was positioned second to left, so Michael Tarver, I assume so.
Okay.
Daniel Bryan first one.
And the other one, it's very rare that a T-shirt just makes me go, I will buy that no matter what. But this T-shirt just sums me up to a T. If you've ever been out on a night out with me or anything like that, this is pretty much me. This is the vision of me that you'll see. And also it's for charity, which is good, which was the Sami Zayn Syria T-shirt. It's just him doing all the little dances he did when Logan Paul was on his way to the ring. So it's all the different interpretations of it.
So a lot of the SmackDown guys were wearing those T-shirts during like Talking Smack and during the show the other week as well. I wonder where you get a T-shirt like that from, because it's quite a fun T-shirt, isn't it? I look forward to seeing that, Adam, when we go to.
Brilliant. I will be wearing this on many, many nights out once the country gets back to normal.
I'm surprised you said that, because of all the things that you said you wouldn't wear in public, but you'd wear that one.
Yeah, people will see that and just think me rather than Sami Zayn. They won't even link it to wrestling, so I'm happy with that.
That's something I would. I know it's for charity, but it's a bloody awful T-shirt. Sorry.
All right.
I look forward to seeing that version of Adam when we go to the Love of Wrestling next year.
I probably will wear that at that event.
Smashing. Good. Right, so let's head over. Done with your T-shirts, by the way? Sorry, Let's head over to BCA Corner. My favourite bit of the show, because I like to show you all the BCAs. We'll start off with Bob Holly, because I didn't have this version of Bob Holly, even though it's one of the most common ones. But this is one of my favourite Hasbro figures, one of my favourite Jakks figures as a child. He was always a top guy in my little play sets, but it's the blue and the white on the side of the trunks on Bob Holly there. You see him come up quite a lot on the secondary, or the 3rd/4th market, should we say. Jeff Jarrett up next. Missing the hat and the glasses, which, to be fair, nowadays you're not going to find it unless you pick up a brand new one. So it's a good placeholder for now with his fingers on there for Jeff. Owen Hart, I picked up the Danger Owen Hart, which is this one here with his thumbs. This one come in the 2-pack with The Rock. I think it was the 2 Tough, I think it was called. Once again, I had him as a child, but really good condition, this Owen Hart. And next up, we've got the Nation. Karma, who we spoke about earlier, but his Nation gear looks nothing like Karma whatsoever. Talk about head scans. Look at that, eh? There it is. And Mark Henry is the last one. A repaint of Dr. Death, I think, or vice versa. So yeah, I'm sort of making my merry way through all the BCAs at the moment, and I'm quite happy to pick these ones up. What do you guys think of these lovely Jakks BCA figures?
They're a decent bunch. Hardcore Holly's probably my favourite out of them. He was my favourite person in WWE at that time. His hardcore matches with Al Snow, like ending in the river and stuff like that, were just absolutely brilliant. One of my favourite periods of wrestling was that. So that is the one that would evoke most memories for me. So yeah, good pickups.
I'm sick of seeing the Bob Holly figure coming up in bundles. I've had to sell quite a few throughout the years for a couple of quid or less. And I've never come across the Karma Mustafa, I've got to say. So I don't know if that's a rarish one.
Yeah. It is for the price. I paid $5 for him. Actually, I paid $5 for each of them. So I think for Karma and Mark Henry, to get them in this condition, which is basically essentially box fresh, it's really hard to find. And Karma on his own is really, really tough to get. So certainly have to pick him up. I've also got some other ones in a bundle. Now the worst one I've found is this is Triple H from the Backlash series. It is honestly, I think, the worst looking figure I might have seen in the history of figures.
Looks about the same quality as that Dean Malenko with the metal hands that came in for WCW.
Oh, the grip and flips.
Yeah.
Never ever say a bad word about the grip and flip figures. The Rick Steiner was particularly fantastic on that one. So that's pretty much it for the BCA corner for this week. Also got a D'Lo Brown, but that's just to go with my boys there. Lovely, Jono. Let's fire across to you.
Hang on, before we do, I think in order for these BCA figures to pop or to have any sort of, relativity, you need to get all the accessories for them, especially the ones where they wear them on their person. Sure, you don't need the sweeping brushes and that things like that, but you need Jeff Jarrett's glasses and hat for sure.
I do, yeah. But I think if I'm getting Jeff Jarrett for £5, I don't expect to have a hat and glasses. I'm happy to have it like this until I can fork out and pay for an in-box one, which is going to have to be done at some point because the glasses there's holes in the side of the head for the glasses. So it needs to be done. But yeah, I was happy to pick them up for now.
Fair enough.
Ring
Right,
ready.
To the last one, and I've only gone and done it bloody again. I've won the Legion of Hasbro monthly quiz, and the prize is MOC Crush. This is the Corner Crush. Beautiful card as always with the Hasbros, and decent figure of that as well.
It's one of my favorites. I'd say it's up there with my favorite Hasbro on-card figures of how it looks. The color matches the card perfectly in the background. And well done on winning the quiz as well. I think you won it by 2 clear points to someone who comes second, who is also very intelligent. So well done.
Yeah, well done to you too. You would have won it if it wasn't for me.
Not for you pesky kids, yeah, would have done. But yeah, I think it's a very tough quiz again. I think some of them I fluked it, some of them I waited to hear your answers, Johnny. But yeah, it was a very good quiz once again. Well done to Phil and the chaps.
Yes, well done to Phil. Thank you to Clark for sending that on. Thank you for Robbie for giving the inspiration to win it twice with his letter from last month. And yeah, all of the admins did well, and Bassett for complaining every time as well.
Friend of the podcast, Daniel Bassett, I think he wants to be known as. Adam, you had to come and join us one time in the quiz.
Yeah, I don't do quizzes. I get really weird and anxious and nervous and stuff. We spoke about that before, so it will not be happening. But I've heard it's a good crack. So everybody else, get on that quiz.
Well, you should have just come for the crack then.
Come for the crack, leave for the crash. But yeah, I'm sure you're proud of us becoming first and second, representing the podcast as we should be. This is a wrestling figure podcast after all. I got some bonus prizes that are on the way, which we'll cover in the next episode. But lovely. So yeah, props to you, Johnny, on winning that one. It's a great prize and deserving for the first ever, not only the first ever 2-time champion, but the first ever defending champion of the Legion of Hasbro quiz.
Thank you very much.
And you get to keep your belt as well.
Yep.
Even better. Lovely, so I think we're all out of pick-me-ups. That's if my memory serves me right. So lovely. We'll be back in a second with our Break It Down segment whilst you'll digest all of our lovely pick-me-ups. And we're talking about setting the industry back 30 years, which very sore subject at the moment, but let's cover it anyway.
Break it down. Bum ba-dum 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 ba-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-bum bum ba-dum bum 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 ba-bum bum ba-dum ba-ba-da-ba-da-ba-bum.
Welcome back to the 3 Points of Articulation podcast. I'll break it down segment now. We're looking at setting the industry back, the wrestling industry back 30 years. Adam, let's fire across to you to have a breakdown of this Break It Down segment.
So if we start first of all at the Blood and Guts match from AEW, lots occurring in this match, which we can talk about more when we get into it. But an unnamed WWE official after the event said that the match set the industry back 30 years. In what way do you think the WWE official meant it? And do you agree with it, first of all? Did it set the industry back 30 years? Jamie, we'll fire it straight back across from you. You're almost like you're not the host now.
I know. Well, I think with the setting industry back, to start with, the official, it could be anyone from Vince McMahon all the way down to the referees that were released last week from NXT. We don't know. There's unnamed, as you say. I think what he meant by it was it felt very early 90s WCW, didn't it, with just how they reacted and how they tried to book the whole match, basically. Me, for one, I enjoyed it. I didn't think it was really, really as bad as everyone was making out to be. The finish was a bit iffy. But all in all, I thought it was a decent match. But yeah, it's just I don't think it set the industry back 30 years at all. I think it was relatively on cue with what the current industry is.
Right. My interpretation was that the guy who said it was saying it because it was so violent and everyone was bleeding, a lot of blood, which you don't see anymore in the wrestling scene, or certainly not in WWE much. So that's where I think the comment originated from. Secondly, I think setting the business back 30 years was a terrific thing to do. It's exactly what we need. And thirdly, for the most part, I did enjoy the match other than the finish. And I'm pretty excited to see where the future can take us if we do more like this, but maybe tone it down a little bit. We don't want to see people bleeding on screen like we're seeing with Jericho with it in his hand, showing it in front of the camera.
I think.
Yeah, I mean, I interpreted it as the blood kind of thing as well as you. It was stupid. It was unnecessary. It was unneeded. I know it was called a blood and guts match, but some of the kind of headshots that people were taking, and like you say, the obviousness about the blading, it does set the industry back for me. That it was unnecessary. We've moved on from those times. You know, you look at the whole Chris Nowinski looking into the brain injuries and things like that with headshots, and the amount of stuff that's come out of that and the amount of good that's going to come out of that for the wrestlers themselves. And you've got AEW almost taking a step back into that. You've got the recent Dark Side of the Ring episode with Nick Gage, and now there's talk of Nick Gage coming into AEW. Obviously, John Moxley is a huge fan, as that episode showed, and John Moxley has turned up in that side of things recently. I don't like that. I don't want to see that. Yes, we need action. Yes, we need drama, but there's other ways of doing it. It does not need blood and guts.
No, I agree with the John Moxley thing. He's over as it is anyway. He's over as a wrestler. He doesn't need that extra element for me. And deathmatch wrestling for me is just silly. Is what I will call it. Sorry, Johnny, go on.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I don't want to see the guys take chair shots to the head. I did possibly skim the match a little bit as well, so I didn't quite see anything that looked painful or dangerous like that. So if I missed that, then I apologize. I don't want to see wrestlers taking massive risks or getting chair shots to the head. Certainly something that I wouldn't wish on anyone to get hurt on purpose. And if it does develop into the Nick Gage type garbage, then yes, that's me done completely.
You almost saw it delve into that, like afterwards. Was it Wheeler that got really blooded, or was it?
Yeah, it was whoever the bald one is.
Howard. Yeah, them putting the ring gear absolutely soaked in blood and just portraying it almost like a trophy. It's just unnecessary for me. I don't get that side of things myself. 30 years ago, that is what made it interesting for the crowd when Ric Flair wrestled a 60-minute match with blood streaming down his face against Dusty Rhodes and stuff. But we've moved on. We don't need those type of characters in the mainstream wrestling shows for me personally. As for the finish of the AEW, if that was in any way spoken about in the setting the industry back, that was AEW's own stupidity. There was a couple of other angles of that which would have made it 100 times better than it looked. So yeah, that was AEW's stupidity. They didn't need to show it from that particular angle. It was the worst one they could have done.
Yeah,
go ahead, sorry, Joe.
Yeah, if the WWE official is saying about the Jericho fall being the one that set the business back 30 years, and a bit hypocritical, because we did watch WrestleMania. What was it?
17
earlier in the year, didn't we? And we seen that Triple H land on a massive mattress, or was it the Undertaker? I can't remember. It was certainly that match, but yeah, they certainly exposed that sort of thing themselves. So they are guilty in their own right of exposing some of the secrets of the business as well. Whether it was that because of that remains a mystery, though.
Yeah, I'd say that the least dangerous thing that happened in the match was the finish. So there was one point, I think it was when Sammy Guevara, I think maybe 5 minutes in, you could quite clearly see him blading as well on the screen. And it's just like Sammy Guevara is quite a young guy. He's 24, 25. I think a lot of people will be looking up to them in a few years' time and going back and watching this, kids. and it's just not the way you want to portray it. So I think that was silly to start with. But yeah, for the finish side of things, it's obviously going to be a mattress. It's obviously going to be a soft fall. It's not Shane McMahon jumping off a cell type of thing, is it? But yeah, it's just a very strange angle. The camera angles are very weird on it.
So that kind of leads us on to the reply from AEW as far as WrestleMania Backlash came out. So we knew that The Miz was against Damian Priest in a lumberjack match. It was hinted a little bit by Batista before the event in a tweet where he said his friends will be at the show. I'm sure he probably didn't send that tweet. It's probably one of his management team. But then we saw the zombies come out for the show. Just before I start, John Morrison's acting was perfection in this match. So we're not going to diss John Morrison in this match at all. Miz and Priest obviously also did as well as they could with it. But now AEW came back and said, well, isn't that kind of rubbish setting the industry back 30 years? So, Jono, what do you think straight away for that one?
Oh, God, that was sickening, wasn't it? Just to see some supernatural beings being in the wrestling setting just doesn't work. It's not right. Puke emoji. Yeah.
I wonder if Kevin Sullivan booked that one. Is he still on the books at WWE? It might be a loss of the Yeti, anyway. But I think all in all, with the Damian Priest match, as soon as I saw it as zombies, I skipped it. I went back and watched it again because we're discussing this, but I skipped it because I thought this is not going to be for me. Damian Priest is obviously going to be a clear winner in this one. And who's going to be a clear loser? We are. It was very strange.
So, did you know how much WWE got paid for this?
No.
A 7-figure sum they got paid for that, for the promotion of the Army of the Dead, which was actually okay. I think it's going to turn into a cult film. I don't know if you two have seen that one, but I watched it last night and it was actually all right. It was a bit weird, but it was all right. But going back to the 30 years, I watched this pay-per-view and it kicked off with a really impressive 3-way women's match. And then it descended into that and I stopped watching it, pure and simple. I just then read up the results from the other matches. And if that's how it's going to have an effect on me as a wrestling fan, then yeah, that is setting the industry back. So I think that claim to setting the industry back has a lot more than the AEW claim.
Do we have another that's going to put butts on seats situation, do you reckon, where Tony Schiavone come out with that, which then was backfired against him? Do you reckon it's going to be one of those comments that's going to now be infamous in the wrestling industry going forward?
It'd be interesting to see because it is one of those things that's being talked about quite a bit in social media in the last couple of weeks and evidenced by us discussing it now. So you might have a point there. I would actually like to see these sort of comments come up every time WWE or AEW do something stupid.
Yeah, but I agree that both of them are setting them back 30 years, but for very different reasons. WWE have gone back to the gimmick side of things. They've sold out essentially on that, whereas AEW, as discussed before, have gone very much down the unnecessary route. And to be fair, they got a lot of slack for the Sean Spears hitting Cody over the head with a chair a few years ago. I'm surprised they didn't learn their lesson from that, because there's a lot of backlash from that, no pun intended.
I quite like that, but I think they did try to gimmick the chair, but it just didn't work. So there was effort to make to try and make it safe, but in the end, once again with the AEW, the execution was rubbish.
I think they've hired a pretty decent firm as well. I don't know the ins and outs of it, but I think they've hired a pretty decent firm for their effects and things. So for that explosion match the other month, followed by falling into some carpet, they really need to rethink maybe about this hiring.
It was probably the guy who WWE fired for King of the Ring 2001 when Shane McMahon couldn't go through the glass boards.
Yeah, complete opposite, but yeah, I know what you mean. It's very strange as to why they did it. I think the explosion of the death match thing was just an absolute top tier comedy moment in wrestling, I think.
Yeah. So we spoke, doesn't matter if you two haven't got one on this one, but we spoke briefly about maybe coming up with something ourselves about how we think the industry has maybe been set back. I'll kick us off, maybe a little bit controversially. It might not be 30 years, but I think WWE especially is setting the industry back with the women at the moment. Keeping people on the books because of family name or because of their looks, which is just not right. You know, you've got women like Natalia and Tamina who constantly mess up, constantly have really weak looking matches, but they've got the name. You've got talent like Dana Brooke, Mandy Rose, Carmella, Aaliyah in NXT, Shotzi Blackheart, who just never produce a match where people turn around and go, that was a good match. There's always flaws in the matches. And now with the signing of Eva Marie as well, who clearly didn't care about wrestling, clearly left wrestling, and they've rehired her while letting people like Peyton Royce and Billie Kay go, who were character developing, who were getting better at their game, who were always improving in every single match on the mic and in the ring. They really need to reboot the women's division and branding. You can see with old NXT matches like Bayley and Sasha and things like that, that they do have the quality there. There are some women who can deliver to a very, very high level. But the weekly shows, as soon as they move them to Raw and SmackDown, even your likes of Bayley and Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks, Charlotte even, are not producing the goods in a week in, week out basis. Yes, they do on pay-per-views quite a lot, to be fair to them, and they are good wrestlers, but I think it's the way that they're being used. They're not suited for the 5-minute matches, and they have too many women who are not suited for wrestling.
Wow, mic drop. You make some good points. There's certainly some underperformers within the ranks of WWE, but I suppose for every Charlotte, you're going to have a Natalia or Tamina. Unfortunately, it's just, I don't think you can train anyone to be as good as Charlotte or Bayley or Sasha even, you know. And it's not as if those guys themselves don't even make a few mistakes as well. So you've got to have your upper talent and then your lower talent. There is a place for them, but you're right, they should never got rid of Billie Kay or Peyton Royce. Peyton Royce was looking quite promising in the ring, to be fair.
I mean, if you look at Shayna Baszler as a prime example, in NXT, she looked an absolute killer. Really good matches, really good storylines, good gimmick as well. Come over to the main roster, and for the first month or so, looked really good. And then, well, she's losing to Natalia and Tamina twice in a week. So it's very strange.
You look at a mid-card or a lower-card men's match, though, on the main roster. There's very rarely a break in flow because of a mistake. The only mistakes really come like if they've tried like a really high level move and it's just gone wrong because of whatever reason they've slipped or something like that. But the women's matches, there's fumbles, there's slowness, there's talking to each other, there's not knowing what each other are doing. There's so many mistakes through the Raw and SmackDown women's matches that it's just not acceptable. The business is being set back by the lack of standards.
Yeah, that WrestleMania Gauntlet match was horrific as well.
Yeah, it was a tough watch.
Billie Kay and Lana being in the same ring was a wise idea.
Back on what you were saying now, if you look at Angel Garza versus Drew Gulak from Raw last week.
Perfect example.
Yeah, decent match. I quite liked it. They both had a story to do. They both had a job to do, and both did it well. If you then compare that to, say, the 6-woman tag that was on SmackDown, it's quite hard to compare it, but I don't think anyone could out that match in any form of glory. It's just a very strange, and they're top-tier wrestlers according to where the position on the rosters. So, yeah, completely agree. I think if you look at a 205 Live match and a women's match on Raw, it's chocolate and chalk, isn't it? Cheese and chalk?
Yes, one of them.
One of those. But yeah, I think for me, I think the one thing that's setting the industry back at the moment is they're not appealing to their target audience. I think they're trying to appeal to an audience that they don't have, rather than people like us, where we like to sit down, we like to watch it, we like to watch good wrestling, and like to have good storylines. They're not having that. They're going for the social media side of things. They're going for the younger generation who, quite frankly, are not overly interested in it at the moment. So I think that's sort of setting it back a little bit, where they're not appealing to people like us. How often do you guys skip Raw or even watch it? Not that much. And you're where the money's going to come from for me.
You could argue that, that's WWE's way of doing it. They're looking for more people to get involved in the wrestling business. They're going for outsiders. That's not the way a business grows. But if you look at AEW, they just playing inside baseball all episode, really. They're talking about things that are like personal or, in the dirt sheets, and simply just breaking kayfabe left, right, and center, and only appealing to this market of smart marks, really. So you've got the two sides of it, and with the way AEW is doing, they're never going to find any new consumers.
I think sorry, Adam, carry on.
I completely get what you're saying there, Jono. I do think that they need to prepare for the future. They need to get new people involved. It's essential for growth, but they do need to retain the market that they're retaining. I think the figures when NXT and AEW were competing against each other showed a hell of a lot, because even the weeks where NXT did well, or wellish, the market of the adult male, like around our era, was just AEW was off the scale compared to NXT, and NXT is supposed to be this edgier, darker brand, and they're even failing in that aspect. So whilst I do think they need to grow, if they don't retain, people like me could go off wrestling and not introduce the new generation, like my son, to wrestling. So I do think there's a bit of difference there as well.
Oh yeah, of course. I was just playing devil's advocate with that comment, really.
Yeah, because I think it's just, you've got to have a happy medium, haven't you? I think Jim Cornette said Vince McMahon, one of the first things that he taught him was, if you like chocolate ice cream and I like vanilla, you're happy if I've got my vanilla, as long as you get your chocolate, if that makes sense. So if I want to watch wrestling for a great wrestling style or a 20-minute match, and you want to watch it for high-flying females, I'm fine with you having your high-flying female match as long as I get my bit in there. And at the moment, I don't think that we're getting our little bit. I think it's very much aimed at the younger generation. So it's not keeping us on board.
Good analogy.
Maybe $1 Million Man will change that in NXT, Jamie.
Well, they're bringing his title back, apparently. So
No, I read that.
should be good. Johnny, you had something to say at the start of the Adam's
monologue.
I
was trying to stop Adam before he went on to his current or future, because if we look back at what sort of things you could say set the business back in recent times as well, you could look at perhaps Matt Hardy with his teleportation or transformation into different characters within a scene, like the football field match last year. He went into Ice Machine, came out as V1 Matt Hardy, and in the same match he was just transforming into all these different people. That's not exactly,
real wrestling.
AEW wise as well, the Dinner Debonair, where Jericho and MJF became into a musical. What the F was that? Last year with the eyeball incident with Seth Rollins and Rey Mysterio. Remember that one? The Fiend got burned alive in a match. Jesus, we've suffered a lot over the last year.
Phil Mitchell got shot. Oh, that's a different soap opera. Sorry. But yeah, at least they've kept continuity. I saw a picture of Aleister Black's eye as he came back from SmackDown. I saw a little meme on that, which was quite good. But yeah, I completely agree. They've sort of gone off the scale with the sort of things that they are doing, which I don't know whether I enjoy it, but I quite enjoyed the Stadium Stampede. So I think that might be where we differ on that one. Because I don't think you were a fan of the Stadium Stampede, Johnny, was you?
No, I was actually quite entertained by the Stadium Stampede. It's just an example of that one. That wasn't too bad. It wasn't as bad as the teleporting all over the stadium, how we debuted. So
Yeah, the stadium Stampede had a lot of entertainment, but it also had little bits and bats of a little showcase and moves here and there and everywhere. So as long as it's got that kind of thing, but then when, like you say, when you talk about the alternative of like the Fiend being burnt alive and stuff, it's no need.
Or Alexa Bliss's descent into chaos,
which we haven't seen much.
But yeah, I think we've covered quite a lot actually on the setting the industry back 30 years. Adam mainly has covered it with his CM Punk like promo on his wrestling. Johnny, do you have anything to add on setting the industry back 30 years?
I think we could go a lot longer, but time limits pursue. We'll have to crack on.
Lovely. Well, let's take the industry back 30 years and have some retro review up next, shall we?
Yes.
Lovely stuff. We'll be back in a second. Retro review time now. We're looking at the Mattel Legends series in this series. And let's fire straight across to Jono.
Not much to report from Series 6. We did have the Texas Tornado, who got the highest score of the series, came at number 10. So not much touched around the top of the league there. And let's just crack on with this series. We are going to be looking at all the tag teams. So it's Tag Team Series 1 as well as the Rockers from the exclusive series. So we'll start with the Bushwhackers. Got Luke and Butch here.
Which one's which? Because I never really got to tell.
Luke.
Butch.
So Luke's the uglier one.
Well, it depends on your preference of men, doesn't it, Jimmy?
Yeah, Luke's the uglier one.
What's your thoughts, Adam? Take us a bit.
There's not many places to go wrong here. I think they've done a good job in overall. The pattern on the trousers is just perfect for that kind of pattern. Bushwhackers obviously in WWE wore all the grey, which is where they're based on. They've got nice little removable hat accessories, even has the word Bushwhackers on the front. You won't be able to see that. Facial wise, you're going to go correct with a stupid expression. So usually where we'd knock points off, if they've got a silly expression, Bushwhackers, no need. You've even got a glimpse of missing teeth and stuff. Tattoos, they've got quite a lot of tattoos. I wouldn't say they're immensely detailed, but with the old school kind of 1970s, 1980s tattoos that they'll got, then they won't need to be. If I'm going to criticize them, I think body-wise, they're too thin. I think the Bushwhackers, especially Luke, had quite a bit of chunk on him. They've used the same body mold, I think, for both of these. There's no difference that I can overly see on them. And they were very different body shapes than each other, so they probably should have.
Try to see if one's taller than the other.
No, I don't think so. Butch maybe slightly, but that's because his head's further up his neck.
Yeah, exactly the same body. Pretty much agree with everything you said. It's just that I think the tattoos are way too dark. They're just plain black, where they maybe should be a bit faded. But yeah, otherwise, you can't really do anything else with them, can you?
They did, didn't they? They had the basic 2-pack that they released for them. But yeah, I mean, this is the iconic look of the Bushwhackers, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think for me, Luke's face looks a little bit better than Butcher's face. I think because I prefer the expression. That's why. I think when you look at the backing card next to the figure, I think this one looks a little bit better than that one. But I also took points off because, as Adam said, the body-wise doesn't overly match for Luke.
Yes.
So I had 8.5 for both of them.
Wow.
So you thought Luke was better, but you had 8.5 for both?
Because the body on Butch was better. So I took points off.
Oh, right. Okay.
Luke,
okay.
yeah.
I'll let you off on that one. Not sure I believe you, but I'll let you off.
I've got them written down. Even down.
Adam, score.
I think Butch is slightly better because I don't like the body on Luke. So Butch, I would give an 8.5, same as Jamie. I think Luke-wise, probably an 8.
Wow, you two have been very generous. I was hovering around the 7 marks for myself, and I did think Luke Butch was slightly better. So 7.0 for Luke, 7.1 for Butch.
So what have you taken marks off for there? Just the body?
Just the tattoos, I just think it's a bit basic and they're quite thin. So
Fair enough.
could have done a lot more, but like it could have been better. Well, it's not bad. 7's a good mark. Right, let's move on. Cowboy Bob Orton and Roddy Piper. I hope I've got the right Piper here because sometimes I know I've switched heads. It looks about the same as yours.
Yeah, that's
Can
right.
I start on this one?
Yeah.
So I'm a big Piper fan. I like Piper. It's one of my favourites. The documentary wasn't that good recently, but yeah, I think on this one, I don't think his head matches like the heel smile that he used to have back then. I think it looks very baby facey, which I didn't overly like in this figure. I think I prefer it in Piper. Basically, we spoke about before, the Mexican smirk. Something like that would be quite good. I think if you look at this figure, you'd think it was a face, which I don't overly like. And then Orton's the other side of things, where you could tell he's a heel by looking at him, which was my first thoughts on these figures.
Yeah, you're right about that. The entrance great. Piper head's a lot better. It's a bit, it's got shorter hair and it's not as smiley. I'm missing the belt off mine. I didn't realize till Adam had his up. I wasn't sure if it came with it or not, but
I lost mine. I actually found it.
Yeah, I've got one on another Piper figure. I don't know. I might have too many Pipers, to be honest. I can't remember which belongs to which. Like the entrance great. Orton, pretty good. I like it's got everything that a Bob Orton figure should have. It is that the ace on the boots and the socks, the striped socks there, which is quite a nice little detail that it shows that we're paying attention. The vest's really good with the tassels hanging down and the hat as well. I'm quite impressed with that figure, to be fair.
It's kind of like a tale of two cities here, where Piper's terrible. I think you two have been very nice to Piper. I think facial-wise, it's one of the worst scans that I've seen. They don't look out like him. They've almost got, and it isn't just this one because I've had a few of these. The mouth is almost like he's the Great Muta, where he's got like dark green in his mouth and stuff. I don't know how they've done that. It's weird. He's almost got goth type lipstick on. The kilt is the kilt. It's fine. The body is a really, really thin one. I guess he was thin, but they've not made an attempt to make it into a Piper. They've just used a thin mold. And then you've got Orton, on the other hand. Face scan is wonderful on the Orton. I would almost criticize this because I have criticized a Dolph Ziggler figure that had this kind of jacket on before, but the tassels actually almost what's the word that I'm looking for? They make it almost like it's not going to fall apart, if you know what I mean. Almost reinstalls. I don't know the word. They've got slightly different knee pads where it's one colour on the back, one colour on the front. They've put the sock detail in. They've put the ace on the boots. The hat is good, even having a different coloured rim on it. It's a really good figure. The only thing that I would say is bad is it's not exactly his body mold, and they didn't put the cast on, where I think they really missed the trick. Unless you've got a different hand to me, he's got a normal hand.
Yeah, but that's the way it was. Like it just covered the up to the wrist.
Oh, I thought it went up to finger level. Did it not?
I think it did when he come back.
When he did it, and it was legit, he did. But afterwards, he just wore it like this.
All right, fair play. I will add a little more back on for that then.
But I also think the body's spot on as well, to be fair. And with the vest, I don't think it's the same as the Dolph Ziggler and the Brian Pillman that we discussed earlier. It's a different,
slightly
mold.
Thicker as well, I think.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a good figure, that one. And I think I might kick off the scores with that. I think it's quite a simple figure. It's done really well, and it's 8.8. And Piper 5.4. Rubbish.
I'm going to give Piper a straight 4. I think it's a terrible figure. Orton, I think I'll give it slightly more than Butch, but not much more. So 8.6.
I also had 8.6 for Orton. I've even written it down if we go in countdown style. You can't really see that there. Piper, I've given as a 5.5. But so Orton-wise, it's a very simple figure. It's done really well, as we said before, which is quite an important thing for us. And I think out of the two of them, I'm surprised they went to put more effort onto Orton rather than Piper, because Piper would have been the bigger draw for the two-pack.
Cool. Next up, we've got Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkov. I've just realised I picked up the wrong Sheik, so I'll just let Adam talk us through that one.
Or not. I think I think Sheik-wise, I prefer this one to the previous one we mentioned in the earlier Legends series, only because I think the colours look really good. Outfit-wise, they're getting a bit of a flash there from Adam. I really like this Sheik one. It's marginally better than the earlier one, but all in all, I really like it.
I really dislike it, and it's for one reason and one reason only, and it's that he's wearing shorts and not trunks. Anything inaccurate, I don't like. That's why Jimmy Snuka scored so low with me. No, not good.
Yeah, so I had the same thing. It's just, even if he did even occasionally wear the shorts, it's not the generic look that he went with. As far as accessories wise, I mean, we spoke about it earlier in the episode. You can't get much better accessories wise in this. Volkov in particular, this jacket is the stuff of dreams as far as a figure goes. The hat's really nice and well fitted on Volkov. The rest of the figure is very simple, but it's pretty much his body shape, and he's angry, which I like. Chic wise, I do prefer this robe than the other one. I think this robe is much better and toyetic. You've got his boots with the trademark horn on them, which is good. The only thing I'd say is I don't think they considered the robe and the hat together, because in order to get the hat to fit perfectly, you have to not touch the robe or have the robe underneath it, because it knocks it off if you do. And then it doesn't look quite right. Like, this doesn't look quite right. I want the robe underneath the hat. I don't know the exact word for this hat, but it's not a hat. Facial wise, Sheik's brilliant figure, so good.
Well, as we discussed with this figure that incorrectly went and got the bare blue tack on the head helps a lot, doesn't it?
Every picture I looked at this one had its robe closed, so the cycling shorts were not taken into account when scoring this figure, sadly. But I thought that I might take a few marks off because of it. Unless we're going for the WrestleMania 17 Sheik, because didn't he wear some form of long shorts or something then?
I think he wore the exact same ones as the earlier Elite. This one.
I think it was that
No,
one.
no. Can't even justify that.
The rope around his side to keep them on.
I'm taking 3 points off Sheik right now. I'm doing it.
So what does that make it?
Oh, 0.3. It makes it an 8.3.
Okay.
But it looks good to me. Image nice one. And Volkov was an 8.7.
Yeah, decent figure, that one.
Chic wise, there's just the shorts for me, so I took 2 points off for that, so it's a straight 8 for the Chic. And Volkov for me is one of my favourite figures, and I really like Nikolai Volkov as well. Gets a 9 for me.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on the Volkov. I just wrote down before he gave us the score the 8.9 for me. So yeah, everything works, and you're right that the jacket is really good. It feels great, good material, very good quality. But it's unforgivable on the old Iron Sheik's biker shorts, and it's 6.2 for me.
The Iron shorts.
A lot lower if the accessories weren't good.
The new Volkov they've released, is that the one? Does it not have USSR on the new? Is there something missing from the new one, isn't there?
Yeah, you can't have the USSR flag on it.
Big difference with it. But it can have the country, which is on there.
Right. Round out the series, and we've got the Rockers. very, very highly sought after. This is Matty collection, so you had to. Think these were like mail order type ones, if I remember correctly. Even though I wasn't collecting at the time, so it's not about memory, it's just about what I know. Yeah.
No, I have had these. I really like them as a whole. I think as a pairing, they're needed figures, weren't they? I think we're looking at a Legends line. Guys like you two, prime example. How much did you enjoy the Rockers back in the day? The figures will reflect that. All in all, I think the one thing they're missing is, once again, the same thing as the Hasbro figures, a little bit more detail on the trousers. I think is one thing that it could possibly add on to there. But apart from that, good figures.
I would disagree on the detail because it is historically correct, really. You look at what they wore, I believe, WrestleMania 5, and it's exactly the same attire.
I take it back then.
They do have the plain tight, but they've got this little bit around the belt. It's a checkered type belt. And then the zebra, not the zebra, tiger print on the boots. And the shirt's pretty nice too. You know, it depicts that ripness. You could maybe have a few more rips in, but I probably would have destroyed the shirt, I would think. Yeah.
So yeah, go on.
Sorry. And the scans, I believe, is really good actually as well. Probably Marty's better than Sean a little bit, which is good since we're never going to get another Marty, it would seem.
No, he's turned into a bit of a weird man, hasn't he? But yeah, I mean, I'm currently watching early to mid 1988, and this is the exact attire for that period as well. So even down to the belts that are on them. I really like these. I think the T-shirts are one of the best accessories that Mattel has ever produced. I think the T-shirts are absolutely brilliant. They're so detailed. The rips in them are brilliant. They look good. There's enough difference about them as far as the arm patterns, the different colours on Sean and Marty. I'm going to disagree with you about the scans. I think they're crap. I think Sean is very slightly better than Marty as well, so I'm going to go the opposite way on that.
That's how I went as well.
But as far as the actual look of the figures, great.
Interesting. I'm trying to study to see where I've gone wrong. Maybe I need some glasses on that you've got.
I just think the Marty one looks absolutely nothing like him for me.
I disagree, but yeah, let's crack on.
But I think, what I was alluding to earlier, I think the Rockers to me always had bright coloured trousers. We also had designs on them as well. But if it's accurate to what they wore at the time, then I take back my comment and I'll add on the points I took off for those.
So what are your points?
Well, Sean is now a 9, a straight 9, and Marty is an 8.9 because I think Sean's head scan is better than Marty's. But I agree on the T-shirt side of things. I like a good T-shirt.
So I went 8.3 for Sean, and I'm trying to decide whether I'm being too harsh for Marty because I just think the head scan is nothing like him whatsoever. I'm going to give him 6.7 for Marty.
That is just a daylight robbery. That is ridiculous.
In the same way as the Iron Sheik has rubbish trousers, Marty has a rubbish face.
I need you to reconsider this. I'm serious.
It looks nothing like him. I can't.
How? It looks exactly like him.
Nah, nothing. Not even the hair colour.
Bloody hell. It's easy a 9.2 figure that with the Sean just below 9.1. The thing with you, Adam, I noticed like it's something like I score quite low, you score it really high, and then if I score it high, you score it really low.
It's almost like you have different opinions on figures, isn't it?
It is. But we never saw it really in the same area, especially if we're going to go really high for one thing and really low for another.
If this head was not on a Marty Jannetty figure, I wouldn't know who it was. So that's how I've got to view it.
No way.
Oh, how weird, man.
No.
Yeah, I agree in the sense that I think the Sean head scan's better than Marty, but I could tell it was a Marty, I think. That maybe that's because it doesn't look like anyone else, maybe.
I think we need a revision of this, Adam.
Lovely. So what have we got next episode then, Johnny? What have we got coming up for the final one on these?
Yeah, the final episode in the Legend series, we're going with the singles from the Mighty Collectors. So that's Andre the Giant, Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard, DDP, and King Kong Bundy. And special ringside collectibles, which is in the Legends packaging, which is Macho King Randy Savage.
Lovely stuff.
I've almost got a full house there.
Tremendous.
Lovely. And what a fall from grace from Series 6 of the Legends series as well. From the very successful Series 5. Series 6 was terrible. But this tag team, I think, has picked it up. We've done well on this one, apart from Marty.
Well, done well in some respects.
Brilliant. Right, so boys, I think that's it for the episode, isn't it? Retro Review is in the bag. So Adam, thanks for your time.
Thank you very much.
And Jono, look at that Marty figure a bit further.
No, Adam is the one who needs to look at it more.
We'll collude to this again soon. But thanks for your
Have a
time,
day
Johnny.
of reflection.
God, see you later.
Lovely stuff. We'll see you guys soon. All the best.